So here's our paintball vending machine that we built for Synergy Woods Paintball. We actually got this back to do a little work on it, and here's the inside components that I'll go over. This is an acrylic tank to hold all the paintballs. It's got several different layers. Shelves here, and these are designed so you can load this tank up without the weight of the paintballs crushing each other on the lower layers. We have some 3D printed components here. This is actually what's going to hold the hopper. We have a little slide mechanism here to open and close the spout where the paintballs feed into the hopper. And this right here is an actual die rotor that we used to feed the counting mechanism. Figure why recreate the wheel. This is actually a good device for feeding the tube. It actually feeds, I believe, 30 paintballs per second. We won't be using nearly that many, but this component over here actually connects like that. So let me go over some of these components here. We try to use components that we had in-house to make it simpler for us. So this is just a standard circuit board that we designed with some reed relays to control the forward and backward motions of the motors. This device here allows us to control through software which of these outputs are going to receive 6 volts. That allows us to control, the lights on the buttons, the motors on the servo, and the hopper. This here is an iPad device. It basically is a keyboard encoder, and what that does is it allows the sensors in the separator to issue keyboard keystrokes, which then the computer will recognize. Inside the separator, we have a photo resistor and an LED on the other side. What that does is, as the motor turns and the paintballs are fed through the tube or the chamber, they pass in between the LED and the photo resistor, issuing a keyboard keystroke through the iPad, which then the software recognizes as a paintball. So here's the software interface that we created. This is for controlling all the different components. Obviously, we can do a manual jog forward. We can do a reverse. And in the event that we have to reset the system, or a customer lost their money or whatnot, we can insert the equivalent of $1, $5, $10, and $20 bills. So if you insert the $1 bill, basically you'll see that the LED for the photoresistor comes on, and the light on the push button which dispenses the paintballs is now on as well. The software is telling you that there's $1 in, and we have it set up for 10 cents a paintball, so you get 10 paintballs. There's a secondary display that would be on the front of the paintball vending machine that the customer would see. So then basically, as the customer presses the button on the front of the machine, it activates the motors. And as you can see, we don't have any paintballs, so what happens is as we're pushing the button, the software is actually counting to see if there's any paintballs going through the photo sensor. If not, an out of order displays. Alright, so I pulled the dispensing button so you can get a better idea of what's going on inside the cabinet when the customer is pressing the button. So what's going to happen is basically as the customer presses the button, the servo motor is going to turn the gear motor, push the paintballs through the counting device. Now, if it doesn't count any paintballs, could mean that the tank is empty, or it could mean that there's a jam somewhere in the system. So what it does is, when you release the button, it actually jogs this motor in reverse slightly to clear any potential jams here, as well as it reverses this motor to clear any potential jams in here. After a predetermined amount of time, if it still does not count any paintballs going through this beam of light, it'll ask you to release the button and retry it. After the second retry, if it still doesn't receive any paintballs, it displays an out of order message saying an operator needs to take a look at it. Okay, so to see all of that in action, we're going to give it $1. The light on the counting mechanism comes on, the light on the dispensing button comes on. I'm going to press the button briefly just so you can see the jog forward and backwards. As I let go of the button, it jogs it backwards. That's to clear any potential jams. I'm going to go ahead and push and hold the button down. It did not count anything, so it stops. I let go, it jogs backwards, resets, tries it for one more time. Still did not count anything. So now it goes ahead and issues the out of order, at which point the operator can reset the system, add another $1, and then if you want to see the software counting, here's the counting timer, the count retries, and the current count. So everything's set to 0. The counting timer is the elapsed period of time from when I push and hold the dispensing button. If it doesn't count a paintball within that period of time, it issues a retry. And as you can see, we have it set for 2 retries. So this is what happens. I'll hit the button. Didn't count anything. As you can see, it's going to try it one more time. And then if you want to see the jog feature through the software, we're going to reset it, give it $1. Now this icon shows the directions of the motor. So as I push it, going forward, doesn't count anything, it stopped. As I release the button, it jogs backwards in reverse for a second, and stops again.